going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Bible Study for Everyone. Once again, my name is Matt, and I'm going to be your facilitator today. And today is day number 17, so we are in Matthew chapter 17. So Matthew chapter 17 starts with a wild story. So Jesus says he takes Peter, James, and John up to the top of a mountain. And what do we see? We see Jesus meeting with Moses and Elijah. And then a miracle happens. A cloud covers them. And God speaks from the cloud. He says, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." I mean, can you imagine being Peter, James, or John in this situation? And what do we see? It says that when the disciples heard this, they fell on their faces and were terrified. I think I'd be terrified too. But I mean, let's just think about this moment. These are some of the most important names throughout the Bible, all meeting together. And out of all of them, God speaks down to Jesus and says, "This is my beloved Son with whom I'm well pleased," proving that this is the Messiah. We heard earlier in Matthew that we are sons and daughters with Christ. I'm going to stop us here and I'm going to make the word of the day, please. Who are you trying to please? What really tugs at your heart? And for all of us, the number one thing should be trying to please God, following his ways, living out his purpose, living out his will for our life. We move on and they leave the mountain. And the disciples have some questions. And one of the questions, once again, is, what about Elijah? I mean, that's part of the prophecy. Elijah is supposed to come, and everyone's wondering where he is. And so once again, this is now the second time that Jesus has made this claim. And it says in verse 13, "Then the disciples understood that he was speaking to them of John the Baptist." Once again, we hear that John the Baptist was the Elijah to come. So we know that that prophecy is fulfilled. And then we move on, and of course, Jesus is walking back, and what happens? He has to save a boy. Then we hear once again Jesus explaining that he is going to die and be resurrected once again. And then it finishes with a story that I love. So everyone's asking and questioning, why is Jesus not paying the tax? And he, being the son of the king, asks, "From whom do kings of the earth take toll or tax? From their sons or from others?" And when he said from others, Jesus said to him, "Then the sons are free." So he's basically saying, I don't need to pay the tax. I'm the son of God, the son of the king. But what does he do at the end? He says, you know what? Whatever, guys. In verse 27, "Go to the sea and cast the hook and take the first fish that comes up. When you open its mouth, you'll find a shekel. Take that and give it to them for me and for yourself." I just love, even though he's the king of the universe, he's God in the flesh, he still does some pretty comical things. I mean, he's using his powers and his miracles to basically say, guys, I know I don't need to do this, but you know what? I control everything. So there's going to be a fish in the water that's going to have some money in its mouth. It'll be my payment. Once again, let's circle back. Who is it that you're trying to please? Think about this today. We'll talk next time.